Well, hello, everyone. Welcome to Clobberin Times. Issue number, well, 178 on, excuse me, 178 on YouTube and 878 overall. Oh, man, unprepared, am I? I hope that prepared me. No, it didn't. Wow. Yeah, never a good idea to eat cereal before you go on, I guess. Go ahead and eat something. Um, all right. Hello, my good friends. I'm so pleased to be with you. All my geeky friends are here on Monday night. Yeah. Are you ready for some comic talk? And me to not sing to aggravate you? No, I will not sing. Sorry about that, folks. I just thought I would have a little. What do they say? When you're basically too lazy to come up with a topic, which really used to be with me. Me often in the old blog talk radio days, and I'm getting into that bad habit here for the Monday Nighters. I'm going to remedy that soon because we're going to have some topics coming up for Monday nights. But tonight, I thought I would just kind of hang out with you all a little bit, my good friends, because obviously. We're all I don't know if we're all comic fans here, and then even if you're not one, you're definitely, more than welcome. But, just kind of, I don't know, just off the cuff little comics talk. If anyone has something to throw out there for me to comment on or whatever, comics wise, before I say some hellos to some dear friends here in the chat, and I'm so happy to see you all here, I will do a few quick show notes very quickly. Yeah, thank goodness for the mute button. Sorry about that. Okay, tomorrow night, let's see here. The Loki, he doesn't like what I call it Loki's comic book roundtable. By the way, thanks to Loki, of course, as always, for that great intro outro that he made for me. But tomorrow, the comic book roundtable will be on the channel of my good buddy 24/7 Fusion Media. He's of course a distinguished member of that august group, that panel, and that will be 7 p.m. Central Standard Time as always. And after that, I will be on the channel of my very good friend Nick Weiser. Of course, his channel is 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser. There is a link in my description below. And I think I will put that in the chat as well. Let me see here. Let me acquire it. And I will put that link because we will be talking about the new DC, or the current, I should say, DC animated film Batman The Long Halloween Part 1. Just Nick and myself will be talking about that, reviewing what have you. And I am really very much looking forward to that. Because Nick is an awesome dude and a good friend, and he's been one of the great friends I made over here in my short time, by 13 months or so here on YouTube. He's been one of my good buddies here, so I am looking forward to that, and I hope you will join us over there. That is 9:15 p.m. Central Standard Time on Mr. Nick Weiser's channel. There is the link in the chat, and then Wednesday night. Clobberin Times extravaganza. I had an absolutely marvelous time a few weeks back hanging out with my great buddy Flash as we counted down our top 25 all-time favorite movies. Well, now it's time for the TV shows. So I'm looking forward to that. That's going to be a lot of fun. Flash is a great friend from we've done shows together for almost a decade now. And I've been doing this for 12 years, and for a gigantic chunk of that, Flash has been riding shotgun with me. And we have a lot of fun with these lists. I think, as I've said before, these countdown lists are really fun for us. And so much so that we did so many that we ran out of lists. We ran out of ideas for it. We ran out of lists to do, things to do a list of. You can name a few things, and if it's geek oriented, there's a chance we did that list. So much so, we were really reaching for it the last couple of times we did it. But now that I'm in a completely new place, and very few people were there who are here now who are there, I should say. we can. It's a chance to do them in a whole, do them all over again. Even this, in some cases, we did some of the ones we've done. We had done many years back. So I'm looking forward. Looking forward to doing some of those, redoing those. I hate remakes usually, but in this case, it's a whole new ballgame. And no one will remember the originals anyway, because I don't know how many people will. That's J-Man. That's going to come up soon. Our top favorite list. That's a great idea. You're the man, J-Man. And thank you for being here. And I want to say some quick hellos before I continue with the show notes. The great Phantom Outsider. What's up, buddy? Always a pleasure to see you. And again, the aforementioned J-Man. What's up? I'll address your comment about comics in a minute there, buddy. Snorta poopers. I can't say it the way my wonderful first officer Raquel says it, but appreciate seeing you there, Snort. Janet from another planet. It is so lovely to see you, my dear, tonight. Thank you for stopping by. We appreciate you. And then my great buddy D. Bud Martin, one of the big the great Eric K's comic book shop owner conspiracy cabal. And speaking of which, hail to the great Eric K. And also hail to the great Chris Persia and the great Steve Mitchum, brother. Always good to see you, buddy. Dad Man Walking, it's fantastic to see you. My good friend, it's always a pleasure, sir. Lord Thought, all right, buddy. Avon lives, and long live the Legion, my good friend. Always a pleasure. My buddy Pat S., what's up, bro? Excellent. Excellent. Polymies Minion, thank you so much for popping in. Love's great to see you. And Pupper, of course. Zach 7, thank you for stopping by. We're great to see you. Let's see who else we got here. I think Tim Hayes, what's up, my friend? It's good to see you. Just another red shirt. What's up, buddy? All right, great to see you. Great to see you. And welcome all to Monday Night Mark C Comic Talks. Comics Talk that is on Clobberin Times. And let's see here. Another show note, of course, as you all know. I'm going to keep driving this point home. Well, first of all, you all know we do Saturday Night Star Trek. That won't change. And Global Geek Gang, that won't change. Usual time, same bat channels. Also, the usual shout out to Retro Blasting. Had a wonderful time with Iconicon. But August the 8th, 1961, a date which will live in comic book infamy. It is the release date of Fantastic Four #1, later to become called the world's greatest comic magazine. And on August the 8th, 2021, the 60th anniversary of the release of the Fantastic Four #1 will be celebrated as only the clobberers of the Global Geek Gang can do it. I shall assemble my Global Geek Gang and you all, because I consider you all clobberers. And we shall clobber Marvel at the celebration of the Fantastic Four game, because they won't do it well. They'll just dump all over it, as they're doing with that Fantastic Four life story bilge, for example. So they won't celebrate that. We will, 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on that wonderful Sunday. And who knows, may have some guest stars pop in. I don't know what exactly is going to happen. I will globally gather my geeks, and we will celebrate Fantastic Four. We'll do some emphasis on issue #1 itself, since that, of course, was the release date. But we will talk, of course, in general about our love and fondness for Marvel's first family, something they don't deserve to own, nor does Disney. And Wesley sucks, by the way. Yeah, don't forget that. So, that is going to be great fun. And again, as I said, of course, Global Geek Gang Thursday, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, as always. So let's see here. Oh, and by the way, and then also keep in the back of your minds. Hey, Brightest Day, what's up, man? Keep in the back of your minds. Thank you, Eric K. You the man. that this is also the 80th anniversary of the great Captain America, and Marvel has already dumped all over him for years, just as they've disrespected the Fantastic Four. Marvel can kiss my ass when it comes to Fantastic Four and Captain America. They have absolutely sullied, they don't deserve Captain America. They're so horrible what they've done to him. Screw them for what they have done. So in the not too distant future this year, expect a Captain America celebration of 80 years of Captain America soon. Oh, that's right. Look, Phantom, dude, you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right, my friend. They've trashing Doctor Strange and everything. They don't deserve any of these characters. Lord Thoth, I cannot wait to see you there, buddy. So this is basically just kind of a hanging out, talking comics a little bit. Oh, Jay, man, my chat disappeared. You'd had something you'd said basically about you don't buy comics anymore, something like that. I can't get to that now. You pretty much dumped Marvel or whatever. I'm sorry. I was going to address it there, Jay, but I thought I went down to check the chat a little bit, and then it just kind of disappeared on me, brother. But brightest day. Hey. So if you are inclined, it doesn't matter if you're so inclined, you can put it back in there. I'm so sorry about that, brother. Damn it. Phoenix Argus. Hello there. How's it going? So you gave up Marvel. You're only still getting the mutant books. I see. Well, look, I can't blame you. Look, again, I have many good friends who are still buying current comics and have folders. I mean, they have pull lists, and I don't. Another lovely lady, in addition to Janet, is here. Arwen Avalon. It is always a pleasure to see you. Love you, my dear. It's so great to see you. Hey, Mr. Angel. Hello there. Mr. Angel, I believe, joined us Saturday night. We're just kind of hanging out a little bit, just talking a little bit of comics. Won't even run too long tonight. Just want to talk to all you lovely people. I never get a chance. I rarely get a chance just to spend a little time with you, myself talking to you. Once in a while, I like to do that, whether it's on a Wednesday when I have an open thingy, or just, and this is comics talk, so it's comics oriented, but anything anyone wants to mention comic oriented, I'll try to address it. And I haven't had a pull list in I don't know how long. I had kind of started dumping my pull list a little before 2011 with the Screw 52, which I hated. And then the Screw 52 just sealed the deal. I was right before that. Now, a few years before that, I was actually I pretty much tapped out of Marvel. I just don't like. I cannot stand nihilistic takes on superheroes. I do not like. I hated Ultimates, but at least when they first came out with the Ultimate line, they gave you the choice. You could still buy the 616 universe. Not that I liked it. Not that it was very good, and that's one thing if it's not very good. But at least the choice was there. Then they just started kind of blurring the line. They getting close to being just as bad in the normal Marvel universe as they were with their Ultimates filth, to me anyway. That's just my opinion. So I just didn't like Ultimates. I didn't like what they were doing. So I kind of tapped out of Marvel. And after about 12 years or so of almost buying very little DC because of what they did to Hal Jordan and with Xerox Hour, throughout the 90s, I didn't buy a lot of DC comics. I mean, I'm still a comics freak. I didn't buy a lot of Marvel or DC. I bought scant few titles at that point throughout the 90s after they started ruining a lot of things, but I bought a lot of the independent creators and stuff like that. Maybe one day I'll go through the list of all the non-Marvel books I used to buy, but I still bought comics. I still had pull list. I just didn't buy a lot of. I bought very few Marvels and almost no DCs. I mean, rarely would I pick up a DC book because I was angry at DC for what they did to Hal Jordan. I didn't like the gimmick. I know a lot of people are younger than me and like the Death of Superman thing. I didn't like that. And a lot of people are younger than me and they like Nightfall. I didn't like that gimmick either. I was kind of tapped out of mainstream superheroes, however much I still love them. And that's just a little background. I don't want to get down out into the weeds with that. But so around 2004 or so, I kind of went back to DC when with Green Lantern Rebirth when they repaired the evil damage done to Hal Jordan and brought him back and fixed him. Kudos to Jeff Johns and Vin Sciver and all those guys for doing that. And then for a good number of years there, I was collecting a healthy number of DC comics, not so much Marvel. And I'm one of those, I've done shows about it. I love both sets of characters pretty much equally. I love Marvel, I love DC. I know there's some who prefer one over the other. And that's always perfectly fine if you call yourself a Marvel guy or a DC guy or a Marvel lady or a DC lady. That's perfectly fine. I love both companies. The companies are garbage. They're rotten to the core and always have been in their history. I mean, the characters, the heroes and such. But so I was for a few years there actually enjoying DC and not so much Marvel. And then a little bit before the Screw 52, which was the nail in the coffin for me, I was starting to drop a few books because I was getting tired of the events. Now bounce this off of you and see what you think. Look, I actually thought, Infinite Crisis wasn't that bad. I didn't. Before that was Identity Crisis. I think that was garbage. That was just as bad as any Ultimates drivel. I know a lot of people like it. I can't stand it. Brad Meltzer should be ashamed of himself. Too far. Don't do that. Don't do that kind of crap with DC mainline superheroes. Sorry. Elseworld's fine, but just me. So I was buying a lot of DC books at that point. Oh yeah, no Phantom Outsider, no, absolutely pre-crisis all the way for me, dude. I'm one of those controversial opinion, and one day, who knows, I'll get a bunch of geeks on a panel and do it. I'm one of those that has a lot of problems with Crisis on Infinite Earths, but that's not here nor there. They started doing these events, and I liked Sinestro Corps War. I thought that was okay. Then we get into Blackest Night. A lot of people, I bought every single Blackest Night tie-in and Blackest Night book like a jackass. That seemed like it went on for a year. I know it didn't. It just seemed like it, okay? So, and I didn't like Blackest Night that much. But it was like, I bought it. I was interested in it. All the other titles were affected by it, if I remember right, or certainly most of them. Seemed like it anyway. And there were a few titles around right before that, or around that time, that was really enjoying. I actually really liked Peter Tomasi's run on Nightwing at that point. I usually didn't buy Nightwing that much. I loved Paul Dini's run on Detective Comics. I thought that was great. And it was great because it felt more like the animated series in terms of shorter stories. I didn't even mind them making the Riddler a PI. At that time, they were coming out with a few good things that I liked. The Superman title never really sat that well with me. I did not like Johns with all that crap bringing up New Krypton stuff. I hate that stuff. Even Busiek, one of my favorite writers, I don't really like his run on Superman or whichever of the Supes titles it was at the time. I didn't like it, but I bought it. I was reading it. I liked the Lightning Saga, and Paul Levitz was kind of bringing back some of my real Legion, what I consider real Legion, anything before 88, 89. Baxter Legion. He was bringing back some, even though they were kind of like an adult version of it. So I liked some things, okay? And I was liking some titles. Mark Lerceth, sorry. I'm sorry, Lerceth. Hello there, Mark. It's good to see you. Thank you for popping in. So I liked some of the titles for a while there. And then Blackest Day ran right into Blackest Night, ran right into Brightest Day. And by Brightest Day, I was exhausted from Blackest Night. Right away, almost right into it. And you had R.I.P., and that was one of the worst things I've ever read in my life, Final Crisis. Holy crap. Legion of Three Worlds, I was really disappointed by because it didn't do exactly what I want, but at least we got sort of an adult version of the Paul Levitz Legion, so I kind of read that for a while. Yeah, I'm with you, Phantom Outsider. I hated that. I really hate what happened to the Legion in 89 and after that. And I hated that horrible Giffen, Tom and Mary Beerbaum crap. That 5 years later garbage for Legion make me sick. Yes, Mark. Final Crisis is one of the. I mean, look, Grant Morrison's written some great comics and some bad comics. Final Crisis is one of the worst friggin' comics I've ever read in my life. It is bad. It's just bad. I mean, now, of course, obviously, it's been so long since I read it. I mean, if you pinned me down, I couldn't tell you all the reasons why. I'd have to go back and read it, but no. Well, J-Man, all I can tell you is I'm very biased when it comes to Legion. You said, how is the current Legion? I was going to try, but I despise Brian Michael Bendis so much that I will not touch it with a 10-foot pole. I did, however, read some excerpts from it here and there to get a flavor, so I can just know a little bit about it. I didn't buy it, and it was despicable. He's an ass. He cannot. His horrible Superman that he just did. I looked at some of that, and friends of mine who've read his Superman hate him. Brian Michael Bendis is a jagoff. Sorry, and he cannot write Legion. He cannot write characters that he didn't. I mean, some people like some of the things. Someone like him. Some people like him. I guess he's a superstar to someone, not to me. So I'm the wrong one to ask on that one, J-Man, because I'm very protective of my Legion. I don't accept anything after 1990, really, except some of the Paul Levitt stuff that he did in the late 2010s, right around 2009 and 10. But that's just me. But what I looked at of the Brian Michael Bendis drivel, So I was kind of tapped out. I was buying fewer books because everything was an event. What is it with the event? I really got sick of events. I just got really tired of them. I'm so aggravated with that kind of crap. So anyway, then along comes this Flush Point pair of jerks, which I hate. And then, of course, leading into the Screw 52, which was it. I was done. It's an interesting point that you bring up, J-Man, about Mark Millar. Let me tell you, my thing about Mark Millar is I thought Red Sun was okay. I don't mind an Elseworld story. I thought it was okay. Here, the animated movie was terrible because they changed it all up and Wokey did whatever. But Mark Millar almost seems like he hates superheroes. And yet he loves Superman. He wrote some of those Superman adventures that were based on Superman animated show, and they were just felt like Superman stories. He wrote a comic called Superior, which was sort of his kind of love letter to the Christopher Reeve Superman films. It was kind of based on that in a sense. It was similar to it. I mean, it was similar to the character of Superman. Another one of those Superman analogs. And I kind of I thought I enjoyed Superior a little bit. I've liked some things Millar's done. I loved Starlight. I liked Huck. Huck was another thing that he was kind of getting near Superman. He seems to like Superman. Yeah, J-Man, he does love Superman. That has always been. He's like Warren Ellis. Warren Ellis hates superheroes and loves Superman. I don't understand these people. I mean, I love Superman, but I love other superheroes. So I thought Superior was pretty good. I liked Starlight, but usually if it's a Millar book, I'm not really going near it. Well, Phantom Outsider, I loved Alan Moore's Supreme only. Alan Moore's Supreme was a gigantic waterfall in the wilderness. It was in the mid-'90s when he took over Supreme, which was a garbage, terrible Rob Liefeld ripoff of Superman, and he turned him into basically turned him into the Silver and Bronze Age Superman that I love. I love Alan Moore Supreme. For a good number of years there, it was like Superman existed in another. He was hiding under the guise of Supreme. He was in a disguise, but it was Superman through and through. No, yeah, all the issues before Alan Moore, no, but I love the Moore Supreme. Right, yeah, Supreme was around for a while and it was garbage. And somehow, some way, Rob Liefeld actually made a good decision. I know he's Liefeld. I'm just messing with Liefeld because he's ugh. But Liefeld made a decision. He let Alan Moore do it. and I just adored every second of it. I loved. I mean, maybe there weren't every issue was perfect. Sometimes the art, I don't know. Rick Veitch did interesting stuff, and I think even Joe Bennett. But sometimes the art was lacking here and there. But I loved Alan Moore Supreme, and that was like me getting to have my pre-crisis Superman back after John Byrne took him away. Oh yeah, I hear you, Phantom. I know what you're talking about. I got you, buddy. I reading you on FM there, brother. And so yeah, I love that. But after 2011, Screw 52 just chased me away from comics, and I bought less and less. I'll tell you one thing that I've stayed, and I'm not going to promise not to get on my soapbox about Astro City, which I preach about so much and I love so much. But I still bought Astro City, of course. But I can tell you, if I bought a handful of comics after that, but none of the Screw 52. But did any of you read Superman Adventures, the comic that was, and it was a digital first, but then about a month later they would put it in a comic book format, and it was short Superman short stories by various creative teams. Forgot how many issues it turned out being. And it was separate from Screw 52 nonsense, so it was, it was just stories that took place at various points. There were a lot of really good stories in those. Oh, you remember those, J-Man? There were some great. I mean, I'm sure not all of them were great. I love that comic, though. There were a lot of great ones in it. I looked forward to it. The Batman one they did was kind of, even the Wonder Woman one they did was kind of okay. They were hit and miss now because they were short stories. Now, I was really angry with DC Comics. Yeah, J-Man, by the way, I was angry with DC Comics because they were a bunch of wussies and they didn't publish the story done by Orson Scott Card because he dares to have opinions they don't like, and they got bullied out of it by SJWs. But that aside, Superman Adventures was great. And, J-Man, I think that really speaks to an underused format for some superheroes, even for most of them. Short stories. That comic was so good, in my opinion, because they were short stories, short Superman stories. I love short stories. That's why Batman Animated Series is so great, because those are relative. You could almost call those short stories. Long, drawn-out, continuity-filled crap can really get on your nerves after a while. And Phantom Outsider, I love All-Star Superman. I really do love it. Yeah. That was another chance for me getting to see my Superman. Yeah, I bought Batman 66 also, Phantom Outsider. Yes, I did buy that. But yeah, J-Ben, those were some good Superman comics. Well, there's my thing. I was tired of long, drawn-out sagas. I was tired of events. I was longing for the days where you could write shorter stories sometimes. Yes, you could do your sagas, but if everything's a saga, then nothing is. Yeah, J-Man, I really did. Again, that's what I said. Morrison can be great, and he can be terrible. And I loved All-Star Superman. Morrison's brilliant run on Animal Man 1-26. That was amazing. That was brilliant, as I said. But yeah, after that, I bought the occasional comic here and there, but I wasn't really buying that much. Well, Phantom Outsider, the thing about the 2 or 3 issue arc or something like that, I think what happened, and I think this really hurt comics. Again, this is speculation. Speculation on my part. I don't have any inside baseball knowledge about it or anything like that, but other than observation, and when it seemed to me at some point, I don't know if it was probably in the early 2000s, perhaps roughly, when there still were actually editors that knew something about comics, and not like these people running these companies that Marvel and DC today. They're not even comics people. They're not comics professionals. They're not serious comics professionals. They're morons. They don't know anything about comics. But there was a time when editor, and they didn't probably even edit anything. They want to sell what they inaccurately call graphic novels. So I think they used to write for the trade, as they say, as we call it, write for the trade. In other words, I envision it sort of this way. writer, bring in their writer artist team or whatever. Say, all right, what are we going to do with I don't know, Batman this month? What are we going to do with? Well, and editors do plan out everything with these people. That's fine, but instead of asking, all right, how what's going to be in this issue, then the next, let's write a couple issues ahead. They'll say, let's write one big long story and chop it up, and we'll sell it as a saga, and then we'll compile it into a trade paperback almost immediately after it comes out. Arwen, that's a good question. A trade paperback is a comic that is a compilation of comics that were originally printed either in stapleback form, like on your racks, in multiple issues, or sometimes in a prestige format, square bound, but still as individual issues. And then the trade comes out and it compiles them into book form, sometimes trade, sometimes hardcover. A graphic novel is this right here. A graphic novel is a comic book story that is originally written for a one-shot story format and formatted in a certain way where it's one story, and it's done as a bigger publication, and that's more like a book form, a square-bound form. So they just inaccurately always say graphic novels, like at the bookstores and stuff. And if you see something like the Marvel graphic novel, that was a line of graphic novels. That was one-shot stories that were made for the Marvel line of graphic novels. DC's done it. A lot of them do it. It's made for that format. But yeah, so it's basically a compilation reprint. Kogi Pan, good to see you. And this was the first graphic novel, by the way, for Marvel. I mean, not in history, but for Marvel. Grant Morrison revealed that, they were forcing Grant to put his Green Lantern run together where he wanted to do single stories. Well, there you go. Yeah, got it right for the trade. And you know what? You could do single stories and then still put them in a damn trade. I like trade. Look, I love getting a good deal on cheap trade paperbacks. Oh man, I love that stuff. Or hardcovers. Get a cheap deal on a trade. I mean, a great comic that you love, but you're getting it compiled. A lot of people don't know that Watchmen was a 12-issue maxi series that took forever to finish. When I bought this right here, Watchmen #1, man, I went nuts. I've been waiting for it a year. When this finally came out in 1986, I couldn't wait for it. A lot of people say, why buy novel digital books and internet replaces it? I disagree. Book novel is something you hold tactile in your hands. Mr. Angel, I absolutely agree with that. I'll tell you this. I don't mind digital because I'll tell you a little bit about. I got a good friend of mine who's a hardcore comic collector and fan who loves owning the physical copy, but he's a little bit older than me. He does have problems with his eyesight, so he does like to get the digital of a comic so he can blow it up on his iPad. Sometimes I cast a comic to my TV and blow that original art panels up and read them on there because it's good for it's better for his eyesight. He can see it better. So I kind of like seeing digital, like blowing up digital comic panels on my big screen, on the screen TV from my phone. But if I want to have the physicals as well. I just like, but I have, and that said, I don't mind having, I like having like I said, I don't mind the digital sometimes. For example, Comicology had a special on a few months ago. A buddy of mine directed me to it. It was like, I think it was something like, if I remember now right, 98 cents for Masterworks, a bunch of Marvel Masterworks. And I paid 99.6 for a bunch of Bronze Age Marvel Masterworks. I got them on there. It's kind of fun. I mean, yes, I'd like to have the originals of that, but man. You know, J-Man, that's something that has aggravated me about a lot of television as well. Um, Again, I think they get together in the writer's room for these shows or whatever, and they don't even make 20-something episodes like they used to make. They make 12 at the most, 8 sometimes, 10. I love Cobra Kai. They're only 10 damn episodes. It's fine. I love it. But what I'm saying, and I don't like hardly any, I never like any new stuff, but I love Cobra Kai. But anyway, but they sit around and they write one story and chop it into multiple parts. So, and sometimes that brings along a lot of padding. Having an arc is fine. I love it. It worked beautifully for Babylon 5. Because you could in your long season arc, you could couch multiple stories and character arcs that worked, and it was beautiful. It was a soap opera. It was beautiful. It worked well on Buffy. Too Much 77. Good to see you. Thank you for being here. It worked well on Buffy because you had a lot of individual episode stories, but you had ultimately things going on with your characters, and you had an arc for the season. I don't mind that. The story threads running through an arc on a continuing series is perfectly fine. But also there's something we said for the short story. Batman the Animated Series is perfect because, in my opinion, you don't get much better than that when it comes to Batman. And those were closed short stories, and they didn't really have continuity, and it was fantastic. I don't think Batman needs really a lot of continuity. I mean, you could put that soap opera stuff in there if you want to. Batman seems to work better for me in that animated series format. I get more out of it when I watch a 22-minute story of Batman than I would if they dragged the damn story out for 5 weeks. Yeah, Twilight Zone's a great example of this, man. Well, in old television, they didn't have story arcs or anything like that. I mean, soap operas did that stuff, but primetime television didn't do it. An anthology like Twilight Zone and Outer Limits, I think, benefited from that. Original Trek is still my favorite, and I like that it was closed stories every week. But even Deep Space Nine, which was more of a soap opera, did at least allow themselves in their 21 or whatever episodes to have, yes, they would run threads through their story. Yes, they would have sagas, but they would have individual episode stories as well. And I like that so much. I prefer that format of TV that they don't make anymore. And I know we always sound like, get off my lawn, you damn kids, with the old man bitching about everything. Yeah, bitching because but I think it's a fair criticism, or it's a lament, and no one has to agree. They're going to make whatever they want to make, but I just think it's better when you go that route, personally. In real life, Tasha Yar's death would affect the crew and Enterprise a long time. TG, the next episode is like, yeah. And you know what? I don't really mind that too much, to be honest with you. Because, I mean, you could mention her. They did mention her later. Oh, and as Deba does point out, Wesley sucks, folks. Oh, did you? In fact, everyone, we have a news bulletin. Wow, this just in, folks. Coming across that news wire, ladies and gentlemen. Yes, more anthologies. I mean, here's why can't there be variety? Not everything has to be an anthology, but there could be something that's more episodic. Yes, Man of Steel is horrible, Phantom Outsider. I'm with you. And I don't know. Comics, I don't know. Now, well, J-Man, as you know, we review the show. We just started reviewing Next Gen. And we're 9 episodes in. He saved the ship 6 damn times. I think he's insufferable. I can't stand him. Later, when they minimalized him down a little bit, I didn't really care as much. He saves the ship too much. He's the worst character. He is a self-insert. We love Roddenberry, but he put himself in there, and he's. I can't stand him. I mean, he absolutely damages every episode he is prevalent in. He just pops up for a mech, and I'm like, eh. So yeah, but look, I respect your opinion there, brother. I we love the J Man around here, buddy. So don't worry about it, bud. But yeah, he's just wow. I don't know. Can't stand the dude. Well, I got this Watchmen cover up here. I like this Watchmen cover. Oh, I hear you, J Man. The wife doesn't like him, huh? Mike Fortune Crow G Robot from the MST3K. Do you know if it one he made or one of the 6 built for the show? I don't think he made it, but you know what? I've never asked him. I will ask him, Pat, if you remind me. Help me remember. You know me. No bad at all there, buddy. I will ask him, though. That's a good question. I don't know if Michael made that one or not. But a lot of people, when they see, when they think of Watchmen, by the way, they think of the bookstore cover of the trade with the yellow cover. This is issue number 1. Every issue, the cover of every issue was actually considered the first panel of the comic. See, this is what I remember, last a couple weeks back when I was absolutely so, honored and unworthy, but honored to be a part of Iconicon. And I did the panel about comic shops of the 80s. It was really about comics of the 80s in a sense. Yes, J-Man, when Watchmen came out, and not for investment purposes, I bought 4, 5, or 6 copies of every issue so I could give them to people. I mean, I'm the Watchmen freak. I admit it. Even though it caused a lot of problems in the industry, it may have helped to ruin it. I loved it at the time. Still love it. I still think it's a masterpiece. It's one of the most important comics of And by the way, I can't stand deconstructionist superhero stuff, but at the time I loved it. I was very young. When Watchmen came out, I was barely, almost not even, I was just shy of 22 years old. So I was a young reader and I loved it. And I was freaked for it. I collected everything there was to collect on Watchmen. I've showed my Watchmen collection here before. Yes, Saturday Morning Watchmen is hilarious, Pat S. But, a lot of people don't remember now that it took forever for that damn thing to come out. Yeah, Phantom Outsider, I love it, man. I have the German editions of the Watchmen albums, the French ones, all the different various hardcovers, including Absolute. I have all of the regular issues, and of course, nothing other than the original 12-issue series by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons counts. Nothing else with Watchmen on it is Watchmen. It's all filth. Sorry, just the way it is. I didn't know you were an ElfQuest fan, Arwen. I met Richard Peeney and Wendy Peeney a couple of times. I sold a lot of ElfQuest. ElfQuest was huge, and I respect it greatly. And Wendy Peeney. Wendy Peeney was the first, one of the first ladies to model Red Sonja at one of those conventions in San Diego. But ElfQuest was a very popular comic in the 80s. And I think, are they still making ElfQuest? I wonder if Arwen knows. I'm not even sure if they still make ElfQuest. But see, the thing, again, I mentioned this because I know it is human nature to long for better times in our lives. And I just love comics so much. I hate not being able to go pick up anything. Don't mind if they make up their own heroes like Watchmen. Yeah, because they were going to be the Charlton characters, and I'm glad Dick Giordano forced him to change that because he loved Charlton characters. Yeah, absolutely. It did not need to be the Charlton characters. Oh, really, Arwen? Well, hey, I hear you. I mean, again, I don't know if they're still making. I don't know what Wendy Pini and Richard Pini are doing anymore. Oh, it ended in 2008. Well, they did it for a long. They did it longer than Dave Sim did Cerebus. Did you have a comedian blood smiling face pin on your jean jacket with the leather shoulder pads? I didn't have the leather shoulder pads, but I still have my original Watchman button. It's rusty, but I still have it. I'm talking about the one that they first put out there, and I still have the Watchman button set too. The Watchman watch, and the Watchman pewter figures for the role playing game, and the glue playing game modules, and the European portfolio signed by Alan Moore and Dave Gibbons, and the American version of the portfolio. And one day I need to frame all those damn things. I don't have room to put them, but I should frame them. I've always meant to frame them. Yep. Not only would Captain Atom not disintegrate the question, Phantom Outsider, he wouldn't slice the parasite open and destroy Kansas like in Kingdom Come, but Elseworlds, what are you gonna do? Okay, maybe they still do. Maybe they still do Elf Quest. I don't know. But look, I get longing for older comics, and it's just human nature, isn't it? Let's see. Only thing I hated was how they damaged Superman, where it was just government stooge Superman. I'm not sure what you're referring. You referring to Miller's Dark Knight? Oh yeah, D-Bud. Look, I'm highly critical of Miller's Dark Knight. At the time, I was really excited about it. Miller and Moore kind of did a lot more damage than good, in my opinion, to the industry later. And they, by the way, Moore knew it and Miller didn't. Do you mean the movie adaptation of Watchmen? Back in 2009 when I started doing this, the two things I wanted to start this show for, I wanted to do a podcast on to bitch about. One of them was the Hack Snyder Watchmen film. The other was the Jar Jar Abrams 09 filthy fake Star Trek, which I hate with a passion. Now, however, I have sort of a love-hate relationship with Watchmen, the film. Things I love about the Watchmen film. The casting, for the most part, Jackie Earle Haley is brilliant. Jeffrey D. Morgan, brilliant. Patrick Wilson, brilliant. From there, the others were pretty good, except guy playing Ozymandias. He was, I don't know. He was all right. So the cast is superb. The visual imaging is superb. It really looks wonderful in terms of adapting the comic book. Listen to me. Dave Gibbons was on the set. They had the trade paperback on the set. And here's the funny thing about that. Zack Snyder, for about almost a year before it came out, he once in a while, either him or someone who works for him used to frequent the message boards about the leading up to the movie. Dave Bob, what's up, buddy? Good to see you, man. And he basically, people kept saying, what we really want to know, because he keeps saying, I got you guys. I know how you feel about Watchmen. I got you. For 23 years at that point, people had been promising a Watchmen movie, and most of us were like, maybe you shouldn't be doing a Watchmen movie, but if you're going to do it, please get it right. And he said, oh, no, I got you guys. I got your back, Watchmen fans. We are going to do this, and you're going to love it. And then people finally start saying, okay, but are we going to get the squid? Oh, yeah. Vaguely, they would say stuff like, oh, don't worry about it. Let's see. Most common thing is the fact that the first Charlton character to make it to the big screen is Peacemaker. I was saying that when I first saw Peacemaker was going to be in Suicide Squad there. Phantom's, that was my first take. I'm like, wow, Peacemaker's the first Charlton character? So, are we going to get the squid, Mr. Snyder? And he pretty much misled a lot of us that we were going to get the squid. So, here's my rundown. I love the casting. Love the look and feel of the film. Man, Jackie Earle Haley's just fantastic. You could not cast Rorschach any better. It's one of the great comic book castings of all time. I loved the look and feel of the film. I think his look was right. You can say some of it was a little corny. He was so slavish to the dialogue of the comic that some of that comic reads is so good in the comic, because I've read that comic so much, I know every inch of it and every bit of dialogue, and so I'm watching the movie and he's getting most of it pretty verbatim. But here's where he dropped the ball. All right, some people disagree. I friggin' hate the ending. The ending is, first of all, if you're not going to use the squid, you still got to come up with a good ending. The ending should have used the squid, but the ending is moronic on too many levels. To let the world have to blame Dr. Manhattan and unite in fear of Dr. Manhattan makes 0 sense. 0 sense. Because what is uniting against Dr. Manhattan gonna? What does it matter if they unite against Dr. Manhattan? Because he's so powerful, he can wipe them out anyway. At least the vague threat of aliens gives them maybe a chance. They know Dr. Manhattan can wipe them out easily. There's nothing they can do. Ozymandias proved that when he tried to kill him. So it's stupid. There's nothing they can do against that. So it was just, and vilifying Dr. Manhattan was moronic, and I friggin' hate it. Another big problem. Zack Snyder's one of these guys that can. Here's a line from one of the ultimate superhero film of all time called Superman the Movie. Well, yeah, J-Man, I was skeptical that the squid wouldn't happen either, but he kept trying to tell people there was going to be a squid. They kept misleading people, and I'm not blaming Snyder for spreading the misinformation, but they kept telling fans squid. And then a couple months before, people were seeing prints of saying there's no squid, and we were kind of agitated. But here's the biggest problem with this film. In the Superman the movie, there's that line, that exchange between Lex Luthor and Miss Teschmacher when he says, Miss Teschmacher, some people can read War and Peace and come away thinking it's a simple adventure story, while others can read the ingredients on a chewing gum wrapper and unlock the secrets of the universe. And she goes on to miss the point by saying, Lex, what has chewing gum got to do with the secrets of the universe? Right, Miss Teschmacher. Well, Zack Snyder is Miss Teschmacher because he can read Watchmen and not friggin' understand it, just like he doesn't understand Superman and makes garbage like Man of Steel. He doesn't respect or understand Superman. And he doesn't respect because Watchmen, and here's what I mean by that. It's fine to make it look exactly like the comic book and be slavishly devoted to that, and I appreciate that. But he adds so much camp. Here's my biggest example. There's other things in it. First of all, he screwed up Rorschach's origin. Rorschach's origin was perfect. He catches the murderer of the child. He chains him to a wrought iron thingy or whatever. Gives him a saw, and then sets the place on fire. Says, "Don't bother trying to cut yourself out. You'll never make it," and burns him down. In this, he just slices him up with a butcher knife. I mean, with a meat cleaver. It was moronic. It was stupid. It missed the point. Worse than that, Rorschach jumps out of a 5-story building in the comic book after running from the cops after being set up by Ozymandias. And what happens? In the comic, because the whole thing is These people, other than Dr. Manhattan, they're normal people. They're not Batman either. Even they're people who dress up strangely, fight. They have mental problems. They fight crime, and they're not super duper. He gets the crap kicked out of him after he breaks his leg in the comic and gets taken away by the cops. In the movie, he does the same fall. Then he jumps to his feet and goes Bruce Lee on 20 cops. It was friggin' stupid. It made me crazy. I'm like, the whole point is these people are not like superheroes other than Dr. Manhattan. Nobody has superpowers. Nobody's Batman. They could easily, they're fragile, they're frail. And the guy broke his leg. He's not Batman. He's not even, even the Question would get his ass kicked. Then you have other scenes where they're flying around with these stupid matrixy fight scenes with, he went out of his way to get so many things right. He botches the ending and he adds too much stupid, campy crap in there. I'm like, oh. And by the way, I still like the movie on a lot of levels, but it's oh my God. It's spam next to filet mignon. The comic is filet mignon, and this is like, ugh. It's Oscar Mayer baloney. And let's address the big blue elephant in the room, or more like the big blue wiener. Okay. In a comic book, Zach, in a comic book that's in your hand, and you got a guy walking around naked with his wiener, with his tackle out. And the whole point, Alan Moore was interviewed a year before this came out, and he said, we have Dr. Manhattan who's becoming more and more detached. He said he just walks around naked at this point because he just doesn't even care. We just decided to dispense with the costume. And he said, and Alan Moore said, if I was Superman, no one would tell me not to walk around naked. So he just walks around naked. In the comic book, it's one thing. On a 90-foot IMAX screen, it's ludicrous. And that's why people are going to laugh at your movie if you got a naked dude with his big blue tackle hanging out in IMAX. You jackass. It's stupid. So just put a thong on him or something. I'm not a prude, but a lot of people don't know this thing. We're bringing their kids to see a superhero movie. They didn't probably understand why it was R. Why it was rated R. But the big blue tackle, it's like, dude, I'm not a prude. I don't care, but probably not a good idea because it's going to be on a big screen. It's going to look you're going to take people out of the movie. People are going to be laughing. And at the theater, I saw it on the first day, people were laughing. They were like, oh my God. I mean, they're not taking your movies. You took them out. If you were just wearing a thong or some shit, nobody would have cared. But now, people will remember your movie for the big blue weasel. Thanks, Zach, you idiot. It worked in the comic. It didn't work in the movie. But there's a lot of great stuff in the film. And the longer version of it, I've actually watched the version with the Black Freighter put back in. Mark, I tried not to look, so I don't know the answer to that question. I don't know. So I don't know how I got on that. I'm sorry, everyone, but I'm here just to talk to you guys. So, because I love talking to y'all, and I like to hang out with you. That movie, again, I have a lot of problems with it. At the same time, I have a lot of affection for it. Yeah, there were a couple. First, J-Man, you have your theatrical cut. You have a special edition. I remember I have the special edition that's in the DVD that is shaped like Rorschach's head. I have that one. And then there is, of course, they came out with a Watchmen motion comic at the time, and even a video game, which I played for a while. Then later they came out with a Black Freighter DVD. Then later they have the version that has the Black Freighter put in it. That's actually on Amazon. And even I didn't buy the Watchmen toaster. I bought the Watchmen Mattel figures based on the comic, though. And, of course, the TV show was a piece of maggot-infested filth. The TV show is from HBO is horrible. And yes, I was dumb enough to watch every bit of it. You were a smart man, JN. J-Man, you were a smart fellow, way smarter than me, buddy, because I watched that garbage TV show. Yes, Mark, the TV show was despicable. The episode where they showed the squid was almost kind of interesting because you kind of got to see the squid for a little bit of, in a sense. See, I love the squid. A lot of people have criticized the squid plot that they took from the Architects of Fear. I liked it. Alan Moore totally swiped his basic plot for the in terms of Ozymandias' scheme, and then Zack Snyder had to ruin that line when he says in the movie, "Dad, I'm not a comic book villain. Do you think I would explain?" No, in the comic it was, "I'm not a Republic serial villain," but I understand. Yeah, it was garbage. J-Man, dude, I'm just warning you, bro. That show's bad. Like I said, the squid one was kind of okay, but it's not worth it. So. Now, talking about the 80s, did anybody read John Sable? Does anybody remember this forgotten comic? I bet some of you did. Mike Grell. Met Mike Grell a couple times. He's going to be at a friend of mine's comic shop for a free comic book day. I'm looking forward to that, to see him again, to get him to sign some more stuff. But so none of you read. Did anybody watch the dumb John Sable TV show that lasted 6 episodes in the 80s? Wow. Yes, Dave Bob, the series is horrific. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a forgotten comic now, man. This was a great comic. And man, in the 80s, I was just that was my young exploratory phase in terms of I still love superheroes and always have, but there were so many exciting comics in the 80s. They made a stupid TV show of this in the late 80s, though. Wow. I think it lasted 6 episodes. It was bad. This was pretty good, though. But in the 80s, when John Sable was still popular, everyone remember the Comics Buyer's Guide? There was an ad in the Comics Buyer's Guide for a Batman John Sable crossover. Unfortunately, all we ever got was the ad. But I had a T-shirt of this, not with this cover, but with John Sable on it. Remember how excited we were about this one? And I don't blame you, Janet. YouTube pretty much has about everything, doesn't it? I mean, yeah. I've got rid of I had DirecTV for about 20 years, and I just dumped it. And I don't even have local channels anymore. I was only keeping DirecTV for football since I gave up the NFL for the first time, and after 50 years, I have no reason to have TV anymore. So it's just a waste. I know y'all remember this bad boy. All right, who's ready for a controversial opinion? Limited 2 issues, Remo Williams Destroyer book. Yeah. Yeah, that's true. Marvel did do Remo Williams, yeah. Wow, D. Bud Martin, it's funny you mentioned that. Wow. because I had a drawing for right when Batman 1988 with Michael Keaton was being released in my shop. I talked about this on the panel. In my shop, and the drawing was for the complete Frank Miller Batman. It had the Dark Knight in there and had his other, I think it had Batman Year One in there compiled, and it had his little short story he did for that Christmas thing. And this gentleman won it. And that's him holding the book. You can barely see it. It's a garbage picture at my comic shop. And I'm holding my hands in the air like an idiot, just pretending. And I gave him a little, that thing that we're using as a gun prop, as a bat signal thingy that you shine on the wall. Yeah, we were being silly. Anyway. That's 1989 there. You know, this controversial opinion I may have told before, but I just saw Judge Dredd and it reminded me of it. Am I the only one? Oh, thank you, Arlen. Am I the only one that hates the Dredd movie from 2012 with Carl Urban? I feel like I'm the only one that hates it. No, I know Flash hates it, but I think everyone else loves it. Everyone you hear rant and rave like it's the greatest thing ever made. I have my theories as to why. I shouldn't have opened up that can of worms, but just saying, that's probably for another time, though. But I do hate it. Because I love Judge Dredd. That movie's not Judge Dredd. Dad, man, what's up, dude? Actually, like I said, too much. I do know one other person, but it was probably only two of us, buddy. Oh, man. But still, what can you do? I said it was controversial. Well, D-Bud, if you haven't seen it, you probably like it. Everyone does but me. I just, as someone who loves the Judge Dredd, the thing is a lifeless. I mean, he's great as Dredd. The thing is lifeless. It doesn't look anything like Mega City 1. It doesn't really, the movie, there's none of the Dredd satire. There's none of the Dredd charm from the comic. None of the dark, I mean, it's just a silly, bloody, blood and guts shoot 'em up. But because of that dopey, silly-ass Stallone Judge Dredd movie of the 90s that pissed fans off so much, they'll take any old slot where Dredd, the character, is treated like a badass, they'll mistake for a good movie. That's the way I look at it. Wow, 14 times. Well, you know what? I'm going to make a pledge to you guys because I am almost never one who cannot correct himself. So I've seen things before that I really didn't like and judged, and then later went back and gave them a second go and changed my opinion. And I'll go back and I'll eat the crow. I'll come back and say, if I thought, you know what, on further review, I fill in the blank. I thought it was better than last time. Because so many people love it. And boy, I went nuts on that sucker when it came out. Holy crap. I mean, the Stallone movie, I love everything about the Stallone movie except Stallone looks and feels more like Judge Dredd than that one. It's just that Stallone's terribly cast. It's goofy, and it's just a shame that Stallone was cast. So both movies have different problems. Not a chance, Eric. So I will go back and watch the Urban one. And I tell you what I'm going to do. I'll have a come to Jesus meeting with everyone about it. If I like it better than the time I walked out of the theater wanting to punch things, I'll admit it on the air. I'll admit it because I hear nothing but people just thinking it's the greatest thing ever. I'm like, I don't get it. I mean, he's good, but he's good. I like him. Look, Urban's a great actor. Although I'm tired of hearing people say he's McCoy. He's not. He's nothing like McCoy. In that film, but let's face it, the Steino Star Trek is filth anyway. So I will go back and watch it. Because I'm never too big to go, you know what? It's been almost 10 years, right? So I'll watch it. I mean, who would have ever thunk I would even sort of like anything remotely from the CW, even though it's not made by the CW department, like Superman and Lois, for example. I'm shocked that I don't hate Superman and Lois. Shocked, I tell you. Shocked. Yes. No, I'm saying. Well, wait a minute. I'm not ignoring Eric. Janet, I'm just. Let me see. I'm sorry, Eric. I'm not ignoring him, but I can't put that name on my screen. I would never ignore Eric. Urban was just as bad as the rest of them. They're not those characters. I'm sorry. People kept saying he's like the reincarnation of DeForest Kelley. Nah. He's a great actor, but he's just none of those people are those characters. I mean, I don't like Pine or Quinto either, but Urban, I don't know. I guess he's such a more likable actor than those two. I guess that's what I'm saying. But those movies are filth anyway. To be fair, it's not like I could like anyone anyway in them. So, I can't believe I like Superman and Lois. Love would be too strong a word. But I'm going to tell you but I wanted to get that out of the way so you don't think I hate it. Kogi Pan, I might review Dread. Thank you, J-Man. You're a gentleman and the scholar. Exactly. Jar Jar Trek is filth. DeForest Kelley is the only Leonard H. McCoy. So, but I'm going to review Dread. As I've made up my mind. And I'm going to be fair to it as well. And look, hey, I don't have much pride, but I have a little geek pride. So if I have to change my mind on it, I am not going to be happy, and I'm going to let everybody make fun of me except Eric, because he makes fun of me enough. All right, no, I'm just kidding. Even Eric can make fun of me. Hey, I'll make fun of me. So hey, there's only one thing I really hate about Superman and Lois, which is astonishing because I thought I wouldn't like it at all. I didn't like the first 5 episodes all that much, and then they went on hiatus, remember? And I kind of like it a little bit better when it came back. But life is a series of trade-offs, isn't it? Now I hear you, J-Man. And look, that's me being a silly comics purist. You are absolutely right, sir. And I'm going to watch it though. I'm going to review it. I might get somebody to come on and talk about it with me even. J-Man, if you want, J-Man, I mean, you're always invited to come. I mean, dude, I'd love to have you on sometime. But I know you're a busy man, but you can come on and help me and review it with me if you want. But or anything else, man, because I'd like to review something with you. All right, excuse me. Here's what I hate about Superman and Lois. This is more fan geek crap, I admit it. Absolutely true. Everything JJ touches, I call him Jar Jar Abrams here, though, is filth. Too much. 77, absolutely. Oh, cool, J-Man. We will set it up, dude. I think, I don't have the movie, obviously, but I think it's on Amazon, if I'm not mistaken, and I shall watch it. Let's see what Chris Persia says. I neither love nor hate Superman and Lois. After 3 episodes, I just kept waiting for the shoe to drop because it's the Arrowverse, and that's not enough to keep me watching. No, I hear you, and it didn't do that really what you were expecting. I shall do so, Kogi fan. I think we all have something. We're a little purist. Yeah, I'm a purist about Babylon 5. That's for sure. Well, I love it. But no one messes with Babylon 5 yet. So, all right, here's what I hate. I hate Superman gone bad trope. I hate it with a passion. Hey, Lord Thoth, take it easy, bro. I appreciate you being here, my friend. Always a pleasure, buddy. The great Lord Thoth. Avon lives and long live the Legion, my friend. I think Tyler is okay as Superman. Of course, you all know how I feel about the costume. I'm not really that big on the lady that plays Lois. I don't mean that in a bad way. She's a lovely woman and all that stuff. The whole look, here's something you gotta. Superman, the whole being Superman being married with a family is the kind of thing that takes getting used to for me. I get it. It's been going on for a while. It took getting used to for me, but I can deal with it. Another unpopular take. I never liked Lois and Clark that much. I love Terry Hatcher, but it was just a buddy of mine called it the Harlequin Adventures of Superman. I didn't really need a romance show about. I just wanted a Superman show. Call me a fanboy. Just me. And J Man. I hate evil Superman crap. I thought they did an okay job with the show. He won't turn bad, I think. He will not turn. Yeah, I hated that. I wish they had not done that story. I don't like Superman having a friggin' evil brother. Sorry, everyone, if I'm spoilering. I don't mean to be, but I think Tyler's okay. When you're Muslim Uncle. Good to see you, buddy. Always a pleasure, my friend. When you love Christopher Reeve as much as I do, and George Reeves before him, Superman's a comic book character to me anyway, but I do love Christopher Reeves and George Reeve. It's George Reeves and Christopher Reeve. Even I never get that backwards. Wow, I'm old. Now, too much. How could you possibly say anything bad about Superman 3? It's easy. However, I didn't say anything bad about Superman 3. But I could. It's got a lot of things wrong with it. But I actually I know it had the evil Superman, but that was a little bit different. Although, at the time, I don't like it in that either, but there are a lot of other problems with that film. I kind of liked the scene where he fought himself in the junkyard. It was kind of poorly put together, but that scene was kind of okay. It was very comic booky, which is important to me. So, but the evil Superman crap, and you know what? The evil Superman in Superman 3 wasn't murdering and destroying the world or murdering people. He was just being an a-hole. He was a-hole. So it was red kryptonite, even though it was tar in the kryptonite, not red kryptonite. You know what I mean? What's this? What's the obsession with tearing down the superhero to make them human? They're not, and that is why they're superheroes. It's affected so many franchises, but it negates hope that you have. I'll tell you what it is. It's called projection. Idiots like Hack Snyder, for example, will make something as terrible as Man of Steel, and what he will do. No, I know you were joking too much. But I bid on it because I like talking about that kind of stuff. Hack Snyder took Man of Steel, and he and that idiot Goyer and his other writers, was it Terrio, whoever it was, they projected their own inadequacies into Superman. Good casting, Henry Cavill's a good actor and all that stuff. And they decided, instead of making a character to aspire to, having him up there on the Superman level and aspiring to that character, they would drag him down into the gutter with themselves and their own their own hang-ups and their own narcissism, and they projected themselves on the Superman, and they took Superman out of him because Superman's not about his powers. What makes him Superman is his character. And in this, he wasn't raised by the good, wholesome Kents. He was raised by conspiracy kook Paul Costner. They hate heroes because they don't want people to aspire to heroes. These people. They hate heroes. They hate people. They believe since they are garbage humans, everyone must be. That is absolutely right, Phantom Outsider. I could not have said it better, sir. Exactly. They project. And that's why they turn Superman into a loathsome little creep that acts just like everyone else. He just happens to have superpowers. That's what Hack Snyder did. Punk Waddle, hey there. That's a new face. Good to see you. Now see, Superman Red Sun was an Elseworlds, Kogi. And I thought it was a pretty good comic. We've talked about Millar earlier. It was interesting. It was well done. And it's Elseworlds, so I don't mind an Elseworlds. I didn't watch the animated film because I heard it was messed up and they ruined it and changed all the editing, put a bunch of preachy stuff in there. I don't know. I'm with you, Eric K. Clayton Moore forever is the Lone Ranger. Sorry, Johnny Hart. Sorry, Clinton Spilsbury. And that Arnie Hammer idiot. Oh, I love Superman 3 and Part 4 too. I'm Christopher Reeve lover. Donate money to his charity. Watch all of his interviews. I love Christopher Reeve. Christopher Reeve, and even in those movies, he is fantastic as Supes. I hear you, partner. Man of Steel doesn't even make sense on its own terms. So it's a bad movie. It is bad. And a bad Superman movie. Yeah, it's to me, I hate, hey, Dr. Herky Monkey, what's up, buddy? I hate The Last Jedi for what it does to Luke Skywalker. I hate Man of Steel for what it does to Superman. I hate those movies equally. They're my two most hated movies of all time. Supplanting 09 filthy Jar Jar Abrams Star Trek garbage, which is pretty, I never thought anything could topple it, but Dr. Hercule Monkey. Growing up, I thought Superman was an attention hog on the Saturday animated shows because I could never get enough Green Lantern. But I would never want Superman to fall to elevate in another character. Well, that's fair enough. And Superman was just more popular, but I love me some Green Lantern, man. Punk Waddle. Hey, Clobberin, I saw you on a Purple Show yesterday, so I thought I'd try to make some of your life. Well, you know what, Punk Waddle? I appreciate that. I love it when new people show up, and I thank you so much. I'm honored to have you here. Thank you. Let's see here. Phantom Outsider. Growing up, Superman in his comic was great. Superboy, great. JSA Superman, great. Just like JLA Superman, it was always Supes slapped into WWGL and Flash in every issue. Well, I love Superman being part of the JLA, buddy, but I hear you. I mean, it kind of, I don't know. I guess maybe it takes place. I mean, it kind of within there. It's kind of the others feel superfluous, but he's a natural for the Superman for me. As much as I hate the Jar Jar ones, yeah. Oh, that's right there with him. I think a while back when Flash and I did our countdown of our top or bottom top 25 all-time most hated movies, not worst movies, most hated movies. I think I had Man of Steel at 1 and Last Jedi at 2 and Abrams Star Trek filth at like 3 or something, and Fan Stick at number 4, something like that. Yeah, but I hear you there, Phantom Outsider. You know, but I don't like we were talking about earlier there, Jamin. I can't stand the evil Superman trope. I'm not saying it should never ever have been used in comics. It's fine sometimes, but using it on this show and have him, killing and murdering—that's why I hate it. I mean, it was just, and it really turned me off. That's a good point. Look, Mark Hamill did participate in his own degradation. I hear you. I hear you there, sir. See, I like the way D. Bud Martin handles things. He just doesn't watch crap if he doesn't want to watch it. I'm a dumbass. I'll watch any damn thing. I say this all the time. Because when people say, why do you watch that? Why'd you watch it? Why'd you watch it? Why'd you watch it? And I go, well, you know what? I'll sit through any old crap once. I want to see it. If I need to talk about it, I got to watch it. So, I'm not going to ever just say something that's crap without having seen it. Then you can't have any fun saying it's crap. Kidding. I know. I'm just kidding. Well, sort of. Absolutely, Arwen. It's just a disgrace what they did to Luke Skywalker. But yeah, I don't know. Yeah, what can you do? I have a saying. I'm not saying I came up with this. I probably didn't, but I've never heard anyone say it. And if you never heard anyone say it, you can just assume you came up with it, but you probably didn't. And it's this one. It's respect for what went before. And what I mean by that in this case is, because, and this is coming from being a comic book creep, just loving comics so much. And characters that were created by someone else fall into the hands of other writers and artists and what have you, because these companies have pretty much stolen them from the rightful creators in many cases. And then they will write them any way they want. And if any fan of these characters complains about it, says, that's not something that character would do, they're like, yeah, we don't care. You're just a fanboy. Get out of here. And that's what I can't stand. They don't know anything about the history of the character or the people who created it, and they just know they got a gig and they got to write the character, and they have no respect for where that character comes from. And that was even happening in the 80s and the 90s and whatever, but it's really now it's at the forefront, and that's why so much of this stuff is garbage. What should the next Superman movie plot? Well, it should be a movie where Tiny PP Coates and Jar Jar Abrams are put into Phantom Zone so they can't make a movie. Some things you cannot change, or the character is too changed. Ben Grimm was yeah, that's right. He was a big man on campus, football star, a veteran fighter pilot. Anything else isn't Ben Grimm. Thank you, sir. Well, he's my favorite character, so you got it, Muslim Uncle. Superboy in the Legion. Enough said. But ideally, in an ideal world, I would get rid of everyone involved with making and shooting, especially Snyder's dumbass. Steve Mitchum and Jar Jar Abrams' filthy face, and I would just, here's another thing. Is anyone else sick of Origins? Even if you do start from scratch, rehashing Superman's origins for the 15 billionth time doesn't work for me either. But if someone just brought him back, look, nothing against Henry Cavill. I think he was well cast. Just his costume and his movies are garbage, in my opinion. He could play Superman. I'd started out where you just ignore all the crap that went before if he were cast and the costume was right. I'd start from basics, but you don't have to rehash his origin either. He could just be Superman, and just write a Superman story. You don't have to get too complicated with it. You do have a lot of baggage, but I think you could do it. I don't know. I mean, I don't know. I don't know how I would do a Superman movie. I just know that I don't. First, it's so in the muck right now. I don't even know. I don't know what I think about a Superman story for a movie because the idiots in charge of it will never get him right. Yes, Batman 89, say what you want about it. I think that was a good way to handle the origin. They did recap it in a flashback, and it was short. That's a pretty good idea. Now, again, look, if it's a character that the public doesn't know that well, different story. It was necessary to have Spider-Man's origin in the first, whether you like the Maguire film or not, it was necessary. It was necessary to have Tony Stark's Iron Man's origin in the first Iron Man film. And Cap, Thor, and Ant-Man and these characters, it was necessary to do origins for those guys. It was never necessary to rehash Batman or Superman's origin 50 times. You know, the biggest problem is, as I was talking earlier about the FF, this is that anniversary. They're holding up on that on the announcement, but they've already tipped their hand that the FF is gonna look nothing like they're supposed to. That is dead on arrival, folks. An FF movie, I guess for the 60th anniversary, that you think they would announce something. And today they were releasing all these pictures from this Flash movie. Why is it called a Flash movie at this point? That stupid Ezra Miller. Who can sit through a? Who's gonna go? I mean, I know a lot of people are. This is the thing. I guess if you want to say this is smart on their part, them chucking this, cramming this thing full of other big names because they know that nobody wants to go. Nobody would go see an Ezra Miller standalone movie. I mean, I'll give them that much credit. At least they know nobody would go watch Ezra Miller. Good night, Dave, Bob, and Wesley does suck. Wesley sucks for sure, buddy. Nobody would go see a. I'm sure you've all saw those pictures that they were released today. Yes, exactly, J-Man. Nobody would go see an Ezra Miller standalone movie as Flash. They at least have the sense to know that, but what they're going to do is stick these names in there. They think they're going to bank on nostalgia. And of course, even though they're going to do that, they're going to probably make the characters jokes and make them stupid. They've already said that. Director's already said he's going to make Flash and Batman idiots. I don't know if he means the Affleck Batman or the Keaton Batman or both are going to be morons, because I think the Affleck Batman's going to be in it, and I don't know. He's probably going to make all the guys are going to be crap, and Supergirl, whoever that new version of Supergirl is going to save the day, because all the guys are going to be stupid jerks. The movie's going to be a piece of garbage, but it's going to have member berries to try to drag people in. Have you seen those pictures? They got pictures of the Batcave, of the Michael Keaton Batmobile released today on the set. And they think that's going to do it for them. And it'll hook some people. I have no interest in this thing. But there are people I've heard people say that they don't care because Michael Keaton's in it, they're going no matter what. They don't care about anything. They're so happy about that. And if that's your thing, hey, more power to you. That's fine. I just want to get that news item out there, folks, because it's critical information that Wesley sucks. Yeah, I hear you, Phantom Outsider. Same here, man. But I have no interest in it. It's like I really had no interest in Black Widow, and a friend made it possible for me to watch it. Oh, look, J-Man, you're not alone. A couple of my other friends are the same way. They'll watch it, and I'll watch it, but I just don't really want to go to the theater that much. I mean, just me. And I hope you enjoy it. I'm just, man, it's just, I don't know. And they're going to really ruin those characters. Those characters are going to be jokes anyway. Remember, it is 2021. Always remember when you watch anything now, it's 2021. Even though Black Widow was made years ago. And I watched it, and I thought, everyone was saying how bad it was. I didn't think it was particularly bad or good. I just thought it was It's got a lot of dumb crap in it. Didn't bother me like it bothered a lot of people. I'm glad I didn't go to a theater to see it. There were I thought some good moments here and there. But also there are a lot of valid criticisms people are raising about it, so I don't have any particular love for it. Well, Punk Waddle, as one of the few people who hated the Snyder Butt as much as I hate all the other Snyder stuff, I'm probably the wrong one to consult on that, so you might want to watch it. I don't know. Yeah, Jay, man, I thought there was some okay scenes in it, you know. Some of the character stuff was kind of all right, and some of the action early on, like the first half of it, I thought was kind of okay. And then that last, I don't know, that last scene, I don't know. But Loki was crap, in my opinion, also. I really hated Falcon Winter Soldier. Didn't like WandaVision. It's an MCU. It's just kind of dead to me. I'll probably arg Shang-Chi and Eternals. You know? Hey, they had a good run. The MCU had a good run. The MCU can suck it. Yeah, I don't need them. Don't need them. I mean, I'll sit through it, but I won't spend any money on it anymore. And they had me first night every time. Up until after Endgame. With the exception of Captain Marvel, I went to a morning feature like a week after it came out just to sit through and that was stupid as well. But I like to go to movies in the morning sometime when nobody's there and eat popcorn and sit there in an empty theater. Now, Kogi, I will review Shang-Chi and Eternals, I suppose, but I won't do an actual, I won't announce a review. Not so much review it, but I'll talk about it. Yeah. In other words, I don't want to even advertise these people's stuff anymore. Like say, tonight we will review Loki or we will review Black Widow or whatever, Shang-Chi. I will watch them and then I'll talk, I'll just kind of casually mention them and tell you what I think, but I won't make a big announcement. I'll do it like on an open talk thing like I'm doing now. I'll just, mention, that was this or that. And even if I like it, I'm not going to do that. I'm just going to go, all right, I'll admit that was good. And I want to be fair. Like I said, I'm fair to Black Widow. I didn't think it was as horrific as everyone else thought it was. I didn't think it was particularly very good either. I'm kind of just like, yeah, that was a movie that was actually filmed and produced and shown and stuff. And now it makes me even more angry when I heard what they did to Robert Downey Jr. Hey, Jay, man, thanks a lot, buddy. I appreciate you being here as always, my friend. And one of these days, if you want to, if I watch Dredd and I know you're a busy man, but if you have the time, talk Dredd after I watch it again. It's on. And again, tomorrow night at 9 p.m. Central Standard Time, I'll be reviewing Batman: The Long Halloween Part 1 on Nick Weiser's channel, the great Nick Weiser's channel. 32 flavors of Nick Weiser. So, bop, bop, bop. Oh, there we go. So, you know what? Hey, look, like I said, I'll sit through any old thing once at least. But the MCU was getting my money. What little of it there was, they were getting it. Excellent, man. I look forward to it, Jay, man. Look, I'll admit it. I went to see Endgame 5 times. I'm an idiot. And then, of course, I actually, the more it wore on me, then later, the more I watched it when I got it on Blu-ray, the more I'm actually really annoyed with it. As you all know, a couple of months back, my great retro blasting buddy Michael and I ranked all, at the time, 23 theatrical Marvel movies. I guess, in order from worst to first, as they say. Oh, is something happening to the chat there, Eric? Huh. So something Steve mentioned, please take the phone from your pocket. You're modding by mistake, or close the chat when you do that or something. Oh. Wow, you're a detective. Oh, you timed Phantom Outsider out by mistake there, Steve. Sorry. So if you could, yeah. Gotcha. It happens, brother. Thank you, Eric K. Well, Eric K's been doing this a long time. I mean, I wouldn't have, when I mod for Polly, I probably never would have been able to pick that out. I've hit someone before a few times. I got you. Well, good to know, because I wouldn't. I probably wouldn't have picked that up either if I were modding for Polly, like I do. So, you the man, Eric. Appreciate you there, brother. And I'm sorry for anything that happened to anyone by mistake there. We appreciate you all being here, that's for sure. And so, Steve, Steve didn't mean it. So, Bob Racing Palpatine, what's up? Good to see you, my friend. Oh, okay. Yeah, I hear you there, Eric. Sorry about that, Phantom. I'm sorry you were in the penalty box. See, I don't see it from here. It was in your pocket. That's why I can't. Oh, Steve, you got to run, bro? Good to see you, man. Don't worry about that, Steve. It happens, buddy. It's early over there on your side of the world, isn't it? But I appreciate you being here, brother. But yeah, that happens, man. That's why I have a whole thing. If I put my phone in my pocket, I'll sit on it. Oh, Steve, no, there's nothing wrong with you being a mod, bud. That shit happens, brother. Don't worry about it. It's good to have, it always helps me to have you there when you are there modding, or when you're in. So, but it's up to you, man. But it's cool. Shit happens, bro. It happens, dude. Ain't a big deal. Everyone understands. It is 04:44 here in the Netherlands. Whoa, okay. Wow. It is 9:45 here. So, my goodness. And I believe that means you're about, wow, you're way ahead of us there, brother. Wow, okay. Appreciate that, Mr. Angel. Man, you're up early. Wow. Wow, that was amazing. Hey, that's right. Like Arwin says, we love you, brother. Steve Mitchell, don't worry about that, bud. Everyone is expressing their love, bud. I'm terrified to put my phone in my pocket because it. Oh, up late. Okay, there you go. Yeah. Oh my goodness. Yeah, well. Let's see what else is going on. What other kind of trouble can we get into tonight? Dude, take it easy, brother. Always and hey to Maddie. Hope you're doing great tonight, brother. You be good, man. Let's see. What other kind of trouble can we get in tonight before we get out of here? Let's see here. We have yeah, Steve, dude, stay if you can, bro. I know he's got stuff to do though. He's a pappy. But oh yeah, D-Bud, dude. Let's see. Too much 77. Thank you for being here. I really appreciate it. You have a great rest of the night there. Wow, 3:45. Okay, I hear you. Yeah, Kogi Pan, I heard about that. Gary's old comic shop closing down. That's right. Oh yeah, well, it depends on which old Iron Man comics you're talking about there, D-Bud. I love the Dave Michelinie, Bob Layton run. I know you're supposed to throw JR in there as well. That led up, of course, to Demon in a Bottle and all that other stuff. That was what a great run. I still have my original trade paperback. But it was back when they were like $6.95 or something. Okay, Punk Waddle, thank you so much. I'll be on for a little bit longer, but it's a pleasure to meet you and a pleasure to have you here. That was a great run, dude. That's one of the classics. Again, Dave Michelinie was an underrated comic book writer, I thought. Wrote a lot of good stuff. Wrote Avengers. I like this Avengers run as well. So, oh gosh, it's been so long since I've read some of those. Man. Like 65 and 66 Iron Man versus Dr. Spectre, Iron Man, Dr. Spectrum. Oh man, who was doing the comic at that point? Was it George Tuska? Or was it George Tuska doing the comic at that point, Phantom Outsider? I can't remember who was doing the book at that point. I'm sure you'll remember. But oh yeah, it was. I mean, look, dude. Dabman Walker says, actually recently found 3 old issues of the original Battlestar Galactica comics. Not sure how long those ran and wished I would have gotten more since I love that show. Let me tell you something about that comic, Dadman. I loved it. I think there were either 22 or 23 issues of it. And I loved the original Battlestar Galactica TV show, of course. And I love that comic. Later drawn and then later even written for a while there by Walt Simonson. It was his first writing gig, if I'm remembering that correctly. I love that comic so much and that show so much. I was crazy about Battlestar Galactica so much. I had a subscription to that comic, and then of course the comic got canceled. Well, I really appreciate that, Punk Waddle. Thank you so much. Let's see here. I will send you a copy of the Iron Man book I wrote. To your Yahoo. It's a big PDF. So, you wrote an Iron Man book? Really? Well, I love those Gil Kane covers. Of course, Gil Kane was a master. Love him. Yeah, I love the original Battlestar Galactica. I love it. And that comic, man, it was really good. I need to dig those up somewhere. But I know I probably still have them somewhere. I think they actually did a trade at some point. I love them. Now they're probably expensive. Now I want to see them again. Okay, let's see. I can't see the avatar too well until I put it on here. Let me see. Oh, there you go. Gotcha. Ramita did 65. Wow, there you go. Collect the Shogun Warriors until... Yeah, I used to like Shogun Warriors too. Oh, wow. Dude, that's fantastic, D-Bud. Look at... Paulie! Yeah, little Paulie. What you doing, buddy? Damn, you busy? You can jump on and talk with me if you want, but if you're busy, I understand. The great Paulie of Latino Slant is here, folks. My goodness, what is up, bro? I ain't doing much. I'm talking with my peeps here, as it were. I'm gonna throw you a link there if you're game, buddy. If you're not, no biggie, man. But it would be cool to tie. It's been a while. But I know you had an adventure today. That I caught the last seconds of because I didn't know you were going to be on. But I threw you a link, Polly. But again, if you, like I said, if you're busy, cool. But if you feel like if you feel like popping in for a bit, I'm only gonna be on for a little bit longer anyway, and I ain't doing nothing in particular. Open geeking out and comics and stuff. But yeah, even that George Tuska run there, Phantom Outsider. Because look, I gotta tell you, I'm not the biggest George Tuska guy. Quite frankly, I've made fun of Tusk. I thought on Iron Man for a while there, of course, usually depending upon his anchor. I mean, I know he was getting old at that point. Some of his art, yeah. I don't know if he's going to do karaoke or not, D-Bud. No, we don't know how to do that around here. And I wouldn't steal his gig there anyway. And I would never sing any karaoke either. So that Iron Man run, well, look, Tuska's very popular. Look, my wonderful, lovely tomorrows have done a book, The Art of George Tuska. So he's quite popular. I was never really that big on him, to be honest, but I think some of his Iron Man is pretty good. I don't know. Oh, the old man. Hello there. Nice to meet you. Oh, well, thank you so much for the kind words. It is a pleasure to see you popping in here. We really appreciate it. So thank you so much. Tonight, I'm just hanging out with my friends here in the chat and stuff. Let's see here. You liked Green Lantern the better. Well, you know what? There's no shame in liking Green Lantern better there, Dad, man. We did just a number of months ago, in fact, a whole bunch of us got together for 2 weeks straight on the Global Geek Gang, which is 1 p.m. Central Standard Time on Thursdays, and had a Green Lantern roundtable, which you may remember that. Man, I don't know if you remember that. And then, of course, in 2 parts, we did it 2 weeks in a row. So we love some Green Lantern around here. We love some Green Lantern around here. This is Sector 2814. Captain 300 sub Spock, what is up, buddy? Good to see you. The thing is, with Tuska, is like I said, at that point when he was drawing Iron Man, I just think he was getting kind of old. And then, but still, when I go back and look at that, I can look at it with fondness. Some of the other stuff Tuska got a hold of, not so much. But, well, what are you going to do, man? Don Heck got really kind of bad toward the end of his career. I'm sorry, Frank Robbins, man. Look, this modern comic book art now is really garbagey, filthy, crappy, doo-doo, poopy. But some of that stuff back then, you would put, let's just be honest. Let's just be honest about something, D-Bud. You put a Kirby cover on a Frank Robbins interior, man, that's just... Oh, Kogi Pan, thanks for being here, my friend. Thank you so much. We'll shout out when we do that Dread review. Well, I hear you about Frank Robbins. Frank Robbins was getting very old. I always thought he was kind of in his heyday, kind of doing a Milk Knift sort of a rip in a sense. But I'm just sorry, man. He was. Yeah, the kids today can't draw and they cheat with computers anyway. They friggin' draw with computers. But it's funny how back then when I would bitch about the artists that I couldn't stand, and now when I see them, and look, time does that. Time and I don't know. Well, it's one of the things that does that to you, I guess. One of the things. Because I look at them now, and I still don't think there were that for the time. And again, it's something I did not know as a big, I don't want to be a student, but a lover of comic book history, and someone who loves to read about comic history a lot. I now know that some of those comic book artists of the day that I didn't like as a kid or whatever, I just did. All I knew was I looked at it and went, yeah. Here you have a George Perez cover with a Don Heck inside, Dazzling Donnie Heck. Well, I was just in my teens or whatever. I didn't know. That was on Justice League, remember? I didn't know that Don Heck was really, really old, barely making ends meet, getting handed by a job by his buddies, a book he could crank out. They put a Perez cover on it. I didn't know that this poor old man was, suffering and stuff like that. I just knew this looked like crap. I look at it now and it's still kind of, but, certain charm to it now, at least, because of how bad the crap now looks. I didn't know. I now know a lot of the histories of some of these guys, these old cartoonists, because they've been screwed over by these big companies for so long, Marvel and DC and these other ones, that they were barely getting by and taking any gig they could get. Tuska and Heck, Robbins, Mortimer, a lot of those guys. I mean, they've been working since the Golden Age. And they were taking whatever gig they could get, even Kirby and Ditko. But I didn't know that as a kid. I know it now. And I go, whoa, I look at that now in a completely different light. I look at some of that stuff that's not as good as their earlier work and go, well, I mean, that man could barely see when he couldn't draw anymore. It's like a quarterback who can't throw the football anymore and needs to stop. Even Unitas couldn't throw the football anymore at some point. Even Montana was too beat up to keep playing. Tom Brady is never going to get beat up because they won't let him sneeze on him, but that's a football thing. You can't even hurt Tom Brady's feelings without getting a 15-yard penalty, so he could play till he's 50 with these wussy rules in the NFL now, which I don't watch anymore. Even the special edition of Star Wars comic book, it reminded me of how much I liked the artwork back then as compared to the current comic. Yeah, that was, if you're talking about the special edition that is the adaptation of the first Star Wars film, that was by Howard Chaykin. I think Tom Palmer inked him. I always thought Palmer inking Chaykin was kind of weird, but it's, light years above any of the crap we get today. As a kid, I always loved looking at comic book art, and I did judge a comic book by its cover. We all did. Also, miss comics being in the convenience stores where they could just get them off the rack. Yes, oh, cool. I'm glad you're here, Paulie. Like I said, bro, always a pleasure, bro. Good to see you, man. But, the spinner rack, buddy. Hey, kids, comics. Well, yeah, you got Steve Young. And I'm just going to say this about Steve Young. We're not going off into the football weeds, everyone, but I'm just saying, Steve Young, 8 is half of 16. That's all I got to say about Steve Young. A 49ers fan will know what I'm talking. A football person will know what I'm talking about. Vintage Chaykin, you say, Captain Spock? Ask and you shall receive. And I've had a run-in with Howard Chaykin once. He's a punk, by the way. But this is probably his most famous work, other than Star Wars. Always wonderful to see you, Arwen Avalon. You have a wonderful night, my dear. Thank you for being here. The beautiful Arwen Avalon, everyone. Thank you so much. Oh, yeah, Phantom. I love Gil Kane covers, man. Nothing like it. Oh, you're a big American flag fan? Cockney? I remember it sold that all my friends were loving it. I was selling it. I was mad at Chaykin. I read it, and I liked it. But it was really huge at the time when this was coming out. It was the shop I was running. This was the early 80s. And this was a phenomenon, no question about it. And it was there you go. And probably no one even remembers it anymore, but you do, so that's good. Yes. Mike Grell again. Bill Sienkiewicz. Just looking at a few comics. Yeah, all the covers are poses. Yeah, no, that's for sure. Oh my goodness. Anybody else? Anybody? Man, Grimjack was so good when it first started out. I think I don't know if Grimjack might have been better when it was in the back of Star Slayer, but I loved Grimjack. By the way, Chaykin was short. I once in the '80s I had a run-in with him. He's lucky I didn't bounce him off the ground because he was being a real jerk off. I remember Chaykin got up. He was bitching because he didn't like the fact that New Teen Titans was popular and X-Men was popular and all this kind of stuff. He didn't like superhero comics because he was such a dickhead, and he all he liked this perverted crap. And he stood up in front of an audience, and this is right when the heyday of New Teen Titans being popular, whatever. And he says, "If you're over 30 years old and you're reading New Teen anything, you need to grow up." I said, "Shut up, jackass! You're in the comics industry. Go screw yourself." See, I hated his Black Hawk series. I hated his Shadow series too. Right now, I feel like I want to smash. I want to clobber Chaykin now. I'm not advocating violence, everyone. I'm just kidding. I don't know if I like the addition to the Superman story of Kryptonians having been to Earth, and they also saying really. Yeah, I hate that. Oh, you talk about from Superman and Lois. Yeah, I hate that aspect of it. I can't stand when they do that. I wish they would leave Krypton alone. I'm so sick of dredging up Kryptonians. Jor-El should have stayed dead. Now he's an evil jackass because of a lot of dumb writers, especially Bendis resurrecting that stuff. I was Captain. I was just talking a little earlier. I was just talking about John Sable. I loved John Sable as well. Great comic. Mike Grell's a good dude. I've talked to him about Sable. I'm going to see him again soon at a free comic book day at a friend's shop soon. But I loved Mike. I'm a big fan of Grell anyway, and I remember Shatter, the computer comic, the first one comic done on a computer, and loved Grimjack, loved Star Slayer, loved John Sable. Now that John Sable TV show wasn't very good though. Badger, you say? Where's Badger? We have the Badger mentioned, so there we go. Badger it is, buddy. Yep, Badger was great, and Nexus was great. Comics were great back then in the '80s. Oh yeah, all the plastic soldiers in the back of comics. Yeah. I don't have a picture of. I didn't put up a picture of Mars, but there's E-Man for you. There, Spot. So many great comics in the '80s, dude. That's what all these are left over from when I did my panel in the '80s comics. Yep. D-But I loved Dreadstar. Hey, Canadian Spider-Man who does whatever a Canadian Spider can. What's up, bro? No Paste Pot Pete comics on me, buddy. There's Nexus number 1. This came, I think issue number 3 came with a record. Remember that? This was like a magazine size format. Capital Comics. Anyone remember this one? Destroyer Duck. Paste Pot Pete. Yeah, Paste Pot Pete first fought, I believe, Human Torch or something in Strange Tales, and then he became the Trapster and joined the Frightful Four, and he was a dope. Yeah, the special lawsuit edition. Lawsuit edition. Yeah, this was, of course, Jack Kirby helping Steve Gerber sue Marvel Comics for their basically him accusing them of stealing Howard the Duck from them. Yeah. Oh. Fires all around then? Oh, man. Dude, sorry about that. Be careful up there, buddy. Anyone remember Star-Lord before Pratt made him into a horny man-child? I don't have the cover for FF36 loaded at the moment, Phantom Outsider. Is that Dragon Man or was it Invincible Man? Or I don't remember. I'm bad with numbers, buddy. Anyone used to read Cerebus? Dave Sim was quite a feller. Remember when DC wanted to have a Punisher before, and actually Marvel wasn't doing much with the Punisher, and then this didn't do well, and blah, 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 blah. What can you do? Oh my goodness. Remember when Alan Moore changed comics with his Swamp Thing? Hey there, Punkwado. You know, I wish I'd have loaded a picture of Normal Man by Aardvark Vanaheim there. I loved Normal Man. Normal Man was hilarious. You know, Spock, Captain 300 Spock. I remember I bought the Swords of Cerebus Volume 2, and I wondered why it had a different cover from some of the other ones. And I took it to Dave Sim at a con in the mid 80s. He said, "How'd you get this?" I said, "What do you mean?" This was before the big telephone books. Were big. We called them telephone books. The reprints of the Cerebus reprints. These were these first smaller album thingies reprinting Cerebus comics. It was Swords of Cerebus number 2, I think. And he said, "Yeah, this cover. They're only like 2,000 made with this cover. How'd you get that?" I was like, "I bought it from a guy. I don't know. I mean, I bought it. The guy was. I don't know how he got it." He's like, "Wow, that's rare, man. Only 2,000 of these made." Yeah, I used to love Cerebus. So. I know y'all remember this puppy. When I still liked Wolverine. Because Wolverine got kind of tiresome after a while to me, to be quite honest with you. Oh, my goodness. Now, but let's you can't forget what put Miller on the map, though. Oh yeah, D Bud. I still have my trade of that Wolverine. Elrond. Yeah, that would be funny. I loved Elrod, and I loved Lord Julius and Wolveroach. Oh man, it's been so long since I've read those, man. Yeah, I mean Miller. Miller. For the for before he started writing, he drew Daredevil for a long with Roger McKenzie writing it before he started writing it. But when he took over the writing, man. And look, I got. Here's the thing about Daredevil. Maybe I'll do a deep dive show on him one day. Yeah, I'd love a Gru movie, Phantom. Oh, Sergio Garnez. I love Gru. A Gru movie indeed. But I kind of miss the Daredevil that lives for like 15, 16 years that was just a superhero for DC, for Marvel and hang around with other superheroes and fought silly villains and stuff. Miller grew him up so much. And it's great. I love the Miller run. I love the Miller run. Don't get me wrong, especially Born Again when he came back to it. Many, many years later, he returned for 7 issues and did, in my opinion, one of the greatest comics ever made in superhero genre. In the Marvel genre, that is Daredevil Born Again, in my opinion. And that's the cover to my trade paperback of Born Again right there. But you know what? I just don't know. Great comics. I don't know where I was going with it. A little bit of stroll down there, some more 80s memory lane stuff, Eddie Moore said goodbye to my wonderful Superman. One of the greatest Superman comics ever, right there, my friends. Want to make something of it? And finally, The King and I, circa 1990. Me hanging out with the King of Comics. It's a crappy picture because I don't know. We're going to try to fix it someday. And as I always say, Jack's got my back. The first comic shop in Louisiana. My first one I worked in. Oh my goodness. I love comics. Bottom line is I love and I miss comics. I miss just being able to talk comics, So it was fun hanging out with you all tonight. I really appreciate you all for being here. You have been fantastic hanging with me. I don't know why anyone want to hang out with me, but you guys did. And I love you for it. Thank you so much. You've just been so great hanging out and just being good buddies to this channel and to me. And I appreciate every one of you. See here now, a little show note. Again, tomorrow, 7 p.m. Central Standard Time. The Loki's Comic Book Roundtable. Sorry, Loki, but it's just a habit. We'll be on 24/7 Fusion's channel. And I'll be there with the gang, 7 p.m. Central. And then after that, at 9:15, thank you, Dan Man Walking, at 9:15, my good buddy, on my good buddy Eric, listen to Eric. Eric K., you're the man, by the way. My good buddy Nick Weiser, 32 Flavors of Nick Weiser, on his channel. I will be hanging out with him. Let's see here. I'll put the link in there. Here's the link. If you have not subscribed to Nick's channel, please do. 32 flavors of Nick Weiser. 9 p.m. 9:15 p.m. Central Standard Time. I will be. Oh, thanks, buddy. Appreciate that, Eric. I will be joining Nick. The two of us will review Batman: The Long Halloween animated film Part 1. Part 2 is not out yet, so we will review Part 1, and then when 2 comes out, we'll do that as well. So, and I'm looking forward to that because Nick's a great guy. So I'll be streaming my ass off tomorrow, and I appreciate y'all for being here. Then Wednesday night. Now, the special time, I had to set it back a little bit because of work things. It'll be 10 p.m. Central Standard Time, not the usual 9. It'll be 10. And my good buddy Flash and I, as we did a couple of weeks ago, we counted down our top 25 all-time favorite movies. Well, on Wednesday night, we'll count down our top 25 all-time favorite TV shows. And we love doing those lists. We love those things. We have a lot of fun doing it. I'm looking forward to it. And so can't wait for that. Then, of course, as always, Thursday, 1 p.m. Central Standard Time, the Global Geek Gang gathers. And I'm looking forward to that. And then finally, as I have always said, as I keep saying, we're a little bit less than a month out now. August 8th, 1961 was the release of Fantastic Four #1. Marvel Comics, in their supreme idiocy, will not celebrate the 60th anniversary of the Fantastic Four, so it's up to us clobberers to do it here at Clobberin Time, and we will do it in style. 4 p.m. Central Standard Time on that wonderful Sunday. We will celebrate the world's greatest comic magazine, Fantastic Four #1, and of course Fantastic Four in general. It should be a hell of a time. Maybe have some guest appearances, some guests rolling in and out of there. We'll see. But either way, I will gather my gang of global geeks and we shall celebrate my all-time favorite comic, the FF. So, looking forward to that. You said it, Eric K. Thank you all so much for being here with me tonight. Thanks again to everyone who popped in for Saturday Night Star Trek. Saturday night, we had a wonderful time. You're all the best. So have a wonderful rest of your evening, and I hope to see you again on the streams tomorrow, everyone. Shout out to all of you. You're the best. And there's a link in my description below to the channels of many, many great friends, some of which are here in the chat tonight. So check those out. Please subscribe to all of those great channels, my good friends. Have a great rest of your Monday night. Good night, folks.